Today, we are going to learn about technology changes over time. We're going to be talking about innovations and communities. So, we have some big words to learn today. So, our first big word that we're going to learn today is communication. Can you say that word at home? Communication. Communication is a way of sending information to people. Right now, we can send text messages and emails to people, but technology was not always the way it is today. You'll be surprised in this unit to find out what kind of technology existed in the past to communicate with one another. One form of communication in the past was using the telegraph. Today, we use cell phones. The telegraph used an electric current along a wire. At the end of the wire is the transmission key. When you press down, this key completes the electric circuit and thereby sends a dot or a dash message along the wire. So can you imagine having to read a message that came in dots and dashes? A community is our next word. What word? Yep, you said it right, community. Oh, it has this word unity in it. Unity means together. So it is a place where people live, work, and play. Our school is a community. Some communities are very urban. In an urban community, there's lots of tall buildings and everything is really close together. New York City and Washington, D.C. are urban communities. Then we have communities like this that are called rural. They're more in the country and houses are spaced out and everybody has lots of land. So in Virginia, we started with a rural community and then we had more urban areas that developed over time. So we'll learn about how our community has changed over time. Our next word is innovation. Innovation. Can you say that word? Yep, that's right, innovation. Innovation kind of reminds me of an invention. It's something new or different. The way we live today is different than the past because of innovations. We used to only be able to travel and send products across our country with railroads. And now we can use airplanes to travel and to carry cargo across the country and to other countries. Can you imagine travel between countries couldn't happen unless they took a boat? Our next word is population. Can you say that word? Very good. Population. Population is the number of people living in a community. The population in communities have grown over time. If you think about Williamsburg in colonial times, they had a much smaller population than Williamsburg does today. Also, areas that have lots of businesses will have a bigger population than areas that are more rural, like in the country. So the population is the number of people. Transportation. Transportation is a way of moving people and things from one place to another. So, one of our first types of transportation was a covered wagon, and most of the time, people wouldn't even sit in the covered wagon. There would be a horse or an ox that pulled the wagon, and the wagon would have all of your stuff inside that you would move with. And sometimes you might sit in it, but most of the time you walked. So over time, transportation has got faster with new innovations, new ways to do things. So now we have a car, and cars can help us get faster to places, and we can carry more stuff. Mrs. Bass went to a really cool museum this summer that showed me how cars have developed over time. In the museum, it was really cool to see that some of the first cars were developed without even having a cover on them. So they would just open up. And then they added things like an air windshield, a cover, and then lights to see on the side. And did you know that if you brought stuff along on your trip before, your suitcase actually sat outside of your car? So this was a really cool museum that showed how cars changed over time. Something interesting would be to look up how cars have changed over time and see different pictures of cars. The next thing you're going to do is practice these vocabulary words. So our vocabulary words were communication, community, innovation, transportation, and population. So you're going to look at these and you're going to cut them out and glue them under the correct category. So something new or different. Use your study guide to figure out what category that would go under. That's the definition for which word we learned today. Because of different blank, we live differently today than in the past. So think about which word has helped us live differently than we did in the past. This one says a way of moving things from one place to another. Which word has to do with moving things? We use cell phones as a way of blank today. So use your study cards to see how the cell phone was used. What word does it go with? A place where people live, work, or play. Where would that fit under? What's that the definition of? The blank of a city has grown from 1,000 to 20,000 people. Which word means that an area is growing with more people? A way of sending information to people. Which word tells us that we can send information to each other? The number of people living in a community. I'm going to look at my study cards and see which word means the number of people living in a community. Our school is a blank. My study card showed me what our school is considered. For blank, people used a horse and a buggy. So this is a way people got around. Which word means people getting around? Now we've got pictures. This picture here is showing where people live. What is that word that means where people live, work, and play? This word is showing how things changed over time. It has a then and now. What do we call things that helped us change? Here, this is a way we can talk to each other. What word would that go under? Here, we have a way of getting around. What word would that go under? And here, we have a number of people. The number of people is called the what? You guys did a great job today learning these very important vocabulary words. I can't wait to show you how technology has helped us change over time. You won't believe how we used to communicate and how we used to transport, how we would move around. You'll be surprised at how far we've come in such a short time. I can't wait to show you more.